All right, we are going to do our basic geometric forms with 2-point perspective right now. So I'm going to go ahead and label my notes. 2-point. We have 3 different rules with this one. And we are going to have a vanishing point on the left. Vertical lines are vertical. And we're going to have a vanishing point on the right. Okay? So when I start, I'm going to take my eye level, my vanishing point, and I'm going to draw that across my page. I'm going to put vanishing point on the left, VP1, vanishing point 2 is over on the right. That way when I talk to you, I'll tell you whether I'm going to VP1 or VP2. Okay, so here's the deal. When we are going to be talking about 2-point perspective, we are talking about facing a corner of the object. So 2 sides of the object are going off into space to the vanishing points. With this, nothing is squared up, but that's okay. We've got this. No worries. We're going to start with the corner of the object, just like when we did 1-point perspective. We want to do one of our objects at the horizon line, so a little bit above and a little bit below. I'm going to do 1 line below that, and I think I'm going to make 2 shapes above that. So the corners of my shapes are all lined up above each other. Okay? One is above and below the horizon line, one's definitely below, and the other 2 are above. Okay. Now, to make the tops and bottoms of our rectangular prism, I'm going to take the closest object to the vanishing point, so that's the one at the horizon line. I'm going to take the tops and the bottoms and bring it to vanishing point 1. Okay. Then I'm going to take the bottom of that same line and I'm going to go to vanishing point 2 for the right hand side of the object. Okay. I'm going to take the object below the horizon line. Top of that line, I am going to go over to the vanishing point. Bottom of that line, I'm going to go over to the vanishing point. And I'm headed towards vanishing point 1. Right hand side, top and bottom of it, headed towards vanishing point 2. All right, that's pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead and give you a second where you can do the tops and bottoms of both of the top pieces, and then we're going to move on from there. All right, so we've got the left side and we've got the right side. We don't want these sides to go on forever, so I'm going to go ahead and shorten them up. I'm going to do that by creating the vertical line. Remember our rule, vertical lines are vertical. So I'm going to decide how long I want this side to go. And I'm looking for which lines actually connect. Okay. Since this is my notes, I don't need to erase everything, but the little bit of extra line that comes up to my object, I'm just going to clean that up so that you can see where my object is. I'm going to skip over my horizon line. I don't want to erase that. You notice I follow my pencil line when I erase it? That saves my eraser. Okay. Over on the right hand side, I also want to shorten up the how wide it is. So I'm just going to decide, make sure it's a vertical line. I'm following my line here as much as I can. All right. Getting rid of a little bit of that extra. Okay. My box that's at the horizon line, I'm actually not going to be able to see through it. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up and erase the horizon on the inside of that box. Okay. Now, what we don't have is the bottoms of the boxes and the top of the boxes. The one at the horizon line, we actually can't see the top or the bottom, so we don't have to draw that one. I'm going to focus on this bottom box for right now. Now, when I take and I look at this corner over here, if I draw a line back to my vanishing point, that's literally just the line I just drew. So I'm actually not going to vanishing point 1. I'm going to take this back corner on the left-hand side, and I'm going to take it over to vanishing point 2 on the right-hand side. So we'll line up my ruler. Oh, that's going to be nice and interesting. Do you see how this shape cuts underneath? It's in the way. I'm actually going to stop drawing when I get to it and start back up on the other side. This right-hand corner over here, I'm going to take this corner back to vanishing point 1. So in theory, this backside is actually parallel to that when it's all squared up. Hey, look at that. I actually am going to have some space between them. So as soon as I have that, I can clean up the extra little bit. No worries. Okay. All right. Let's move to the boxes above the horizon line. This far corner over here, I'm going to line up my ruler with the opposite one over in vanishing point 1 on the left-hand side. And I'm going to take the left-hand corner, line it up with vanishing point 2. On the top, I'm going to take the left-hand corner, line it up with vanishing point 2. Vanishing point 1 with the right-hand side. This is a good example of one that it's actually cutting through that box. Do you see how this part gets covered up? We can't see through the box. We're making opaque boxes. So that you're not going to be able to see. All right. You did a pretty good job with this. If you want to take this one step further, we can think about where our light source is. And if we have light coming from this right-hand side, this would be our lighter side and this would be our darker side. I would loosely hold my pencil and I would start shading at the edge. And I would actually kind of just let it kind of fade out pretty quickly. Remember the boxes in my room and how they were white? Even white things have shadows. Now when I do that, one of the things that I like to do sometimes is I like to take a piece of paper and clean up my line. If the light's coming from the top side, the bottom of my box is actually going to be a little bit darker. But at the same time as that's darker on the edge, I'm going to fade it out pretty fast because remember how this is a white box? It's going to be reflecting some light back up at it. I usually like to turn my paper so that I can get a better angle for the way I hold my pencil. So with this, I'm going to protect the part I just shaded. I'm taking a little bit of the graphite that's on my finger and I'm just smudging it in my background. I'm going to take my paper over to this pencil line. Actually, I'm going to reverse that. I'm going to protect what I just smudged. But by adding a little bit of shading to the background, that's really making the side of that box stand out. So I would do something similar to this on my other boxes. I'm going to challenge you to do that too. Now you have time to work on your own throughout the week, but I would like you, as you get going through the week, I would love for you to snap a photo of it and upload your photo so I can see a little bit of progress on how you're doing. All right, take your time, add some more, and we'll see how you did, okay? If you get really far ahead, you can start looking at what would the shadows look like on the ground, okay? I'll try and upload a finished product of mine after this, okay?